We are joined by two guests this evening. Our first guest started out in technology at age 6 with his Commodore 64. Here. At 7, he was doing IT in the classrooms of his grade school. He holds a number of IT certificates, received a bachelor's degree in business at the State University of New York, and his master's degree in business administration from the University of Phoenix. Hello, Vincent Nicotra.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Very good. Oh, thank you for being here with us. Janice, are you there?
Hi. Yes, hi. How are you?
Hello, Janice. Janice Aviles, is that correct?
Yeah.
Aviles.
That sounds like the whitest way I've ever heard that said.
I don't know. Janice holds an MBA in business management from Hofstra University and is partnered with Vince here. Well, she's his fiance, but they both play a role in Hansen's comeback, and we'll find out exactly to what extent here in a minute.
When Chris Hansen says, I've been in this business for over 40 years, I know what's going on, listen to me, you'll be fine. Listen, he's a customer, and you know the old adage, the customer's always right. But at the end of the day, on the footer of that site, it says VE and Interactive Media. I mean, yeah, it had its bugs. I'm working on it, and I got a small company, man. I don't have a staff. I don't have a marketing rep. I don't have all this. It's all me and a consultant that I have who's a very good friend of mine. His name is Bill. He's a good graphic designer, and I have Janice to help me out with the social media stuff. But that's pretty much the gist of my company. Yeah, and Wes had some very valid points when we initially spoke, and I did bring it up to Chris. But I think what he needs, and that's why today I put that fan request. It's more of a suggestion box. And I want that thing spammed down so I can give to him, like, listen, this is what the fans want. And he's humble enough that he'll look at it and be like, okay, let's change it. I need support. I mean, I don't.
To be honest with you, as I've said since the beginning, that from the first live feed, I'm Vincent's fiance. I'm here to help. I've always told Chris and Vinny, listen, I'm a big fan. I'm just here to help. And whatever, if you want me to help you with something, I'm fine with that. But I don't have an official role here. In reality, Chris is really dealing with Vinny. My own little Instagram site, it grows because I try to put interesting content. But I'll share whatever Chris posts on his stuff. I'll share it to kind of promote, but I'm not like somebody who's officially in charge of anything. He'll come to me if he has a question because I know more about it because I'm more on it. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, but he's not really into that realm. I'll hold the camera. I'll make sure that Vinny's on time to the live feed, stuff like that. But I'm just there. I'm his fiance. I'm here just to help out.
Do you have a memorable experience, or what's been most memorable about working with Chris Hansen?
There's two of them. The first time I met Chris, we actually went and met at a Starbucks. Vinny was picking up some of the material that was going to be used on the website. And so it was the first time I was meeting Chris.
And his son.
Oh, awesome.
And, I'm very short. So imagine for me, Chris is like a looming giant, but, very affable, very, gentlemanlike. We sat down, we had some conversations, and he asked me questions. I've never said that I'm an expert at anything, but I've worked for a very long time. I do work for a small company that does do like a lot of Instagram posting, so I get to see what kind of conjures followers. And that was like one thing that he wasn't really big on Instagram. He was big on Twitter, big on Facebook, But Instagram he was doing, but he wasn't, I guess, generating as much followers. So I just gave him like a couple of suggestions. That's it. The most memorable was the first live feed, because I got to see for the first time how it was to be like behind the scenes. Seeing how easily Chris was, because we did two things at that day. We did the live feed, but prior to doing the live feed, he was actually doing kind of like the short tales.
That's right.
So he was pre-recording that. So when he was doing that, we were kind of like, we were recording it, but we were kind of like off to the side, and we could see the professionalism, the way that he would go through like every single story. It was like, it was all in his brain. He knew exactly what he wanted to say. And it was a great behind the scenes to see a person who's had so much experience and could feed out all those stories. I've never been witness to anything like that before. He went through it, and it was like, we did several takes, and if we heard like a truck noise or whatever, he would just cut it and then rewind whatever he just said in his mind and go through it again. So it was very professional, and
So what about the time I had my cell phone on and it went off?
Yeah, that was another
thing. Nice.
Yeah, during the whole thing, it's like, really, guy, and
I got yelled at. Chris, like, shut the cell phone off.
Yeah.
Well, that probably only happens once.
That did happen once.
Yeah,
that was
it'll never happen again. Never.
I have to ask, when you met with either one of you, when you first met Chris, for example, at Starbucks, were the other customers aware of his presence?
All right.
People recognize him?
I met him at a restaurant called, I'm going to give them a plug, the Fig and Olive in Manhattan. And yes, the customers were whispering, that's Chris Hansen. Like,
nice.
When I see him on the street doing his updates, I'm pretty surprised that there aren't people just walking up to him and, hey man, you Chris Hansen? How does how is he able to do those without people interrupting those?
Yeah,
well,
really.
you know what's funny? I'm not there when he does those update videos, but I know that there was a couple of instances where he had to retake them, and people were like, hey, yo, that's Chris Hansen, what's up? And it's...
I have to admit, when Vinny went to meet him at the Fig and Olive, that was a one-on-one. When we went to meet him at the Starbucks, he was sitting at Starbucks and everyone was sitting around. Not one person came up to him. So it was very, yeah, it was, in New York, a lot of people don't like to bother other people. That's another thing.
But here's the thing. He's probably a regular there because that Starbucks is right across the street from his office. So he's probably there every day.
Yeah, so probably people see him all the time and things like that. But, he's a person that when you see him walking down the street, you notice him. He's not someone that will, yeah.
But look at his live show yesterday with Casey. People were coming up to him, and Chris is like, "Oh, we're live."
Where were they recording that, by the way? What sort of a building were they in?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were either at Casey's studio where she teaches, or I'm thinking at the Bel Air Hotel where Chris was staying.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Any idea what happened with the audio on that? I mean, I don't know if you listened to it. It probably sounded fine in your headphones, but listening to it, on the live stream, it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
I know you weren't there, but do you have a guess on what it could have been?
No, I already know what it was because you know what? I was listening to it. It sounded fine when it was recorded. You got to understand, I was in New York, he was in LA, and I had my phone going on, and it sounded fine. So I said to the people, "Yo, this sounds fine. I don't know, relax." I said something to that effect. But then when I replayed it, I hear kids screaming. I hear wind. I'm like, oh shit! I sound like an asshole.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know if because I don't know.
I just want to apologize to everybody about that.
Sure.
time, it sounded fine. So I genuinely apologize.
Well, I mean, that's going to be one of those things that happens anytime you're doing something remote. And I worked in IT for a number of years, and sometimes stuff just happens and it seems fine to you, and it's not fine on the other end. But that's just one of the things about working remote. So that is what it is. I don't really think you have to
exactly where they were. If they were like in a place where people, like, the background noise was being caught from something. So because if he was saying that we're live, there obviously he was in a public place.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's what's unfortunate is that that is by far the biggest get so far on the channel. Being able to do an interview with Casey Morrow. I mean, she's been an internet legend ever since the first those first things aired. So to have her on, was a big coup, and then for the audio to be so poor. I mean, I'm sure he's disappointed. I'm sure everyone's disappointed all around. I mean, but it was still great to see her on, and she's very intelligent, and she had some really good insights. I'm sure Lauren Armstrong will be disappointed that he was not memorable to her. But other than that, I thought, I'm sure
Listen,
he would just be.
My honest opinion. You want my honest opinion on that? And I also told Chris, I think she wants to forget.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that I'm sure she's aware of the stories and the connection with Lauren Armstrong, and maybe she just wanted to avoid that one topic. But how do you forget Lauren Armstrong? I mean, it was his birthday. He was dressed like Bobby Hill. How do you forget that guy? So I think maybe she just didn't want to play into it. Didn't want to give the content creators anything new to spin and make into a song or something like that.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.